Welcome to the Shergroupe podcast, where we share ideas on how to help businesses grow and prosper in the online world. Join host, Chief Shergroupie, Claire Sandbrook, as she discusses her digital journey and how Shergroup is helping thousands to keep their business flowing and growing. Here on the Shergroupe podcast.
Hello, it's Claire and welcome to the Shergroupe podcast. This week I wanted to talk about some of the fabulous opportunities we've had as a business solutions group to really make a difference in the lives of our customers. Our customers come from a diverse range of business types. Our heritage customers come usually from the legal profession, and they still do today. And we act for many firms of solicitors across the country and now in-house legal departments who are looking to be able to enforce court judgments and orders as part of their process, and of course looking after their clients. And we take those instructions very seriously and we handle them with great care because we understand that the professions themselves need to deliver a service of the highest quality to their customers, their clients. And so we like working with our law firm partners. They are most definitely the buffer between us and the end client, who is trying to make sense of an enforcement system that is not always as helpful as they would like it to be. So we really appreciate all of you sending work to Shergroup and then working with us to get the best outcome possible for your client, even if it's not the outcome they wanted. That's the nature of enforcement. And of course, we're then joined by other professions, accountants, surveyors, doctors from time to time, dentists, many professions themselves who are now property owners and landlords and have property portfolios and who run their own portfolios to the point where they have to get a tenant removed from a property for all the reasons that we understand. And so we're talking to more and more professional people in all walks of life. We do a big piece of business now for party wall specialists who came to us during the pandemic actually, and who had no clue about how to enforce a party wall agreement and were told it couldn't be done. And just by using a little bit of research, I was able to find the leading barrister on party wall agreements who confirmed my understanding of the law that agreements could be enforced. And as a result of that, we've successfully enforced those agreements going forward for the party wall specialists. So enforcement is not always about your humdrum kind of county court judgment that you get for a couple of £1,000 and then you want to enforce it in the High Court. What Shergroup looks to do is to find niches, that's for sure, and to be able to enforce those niches to the best of its ability. Another niche that we've worked on and which my principal worked on 40 years ago was the enforcement of judgments against airlines and about the seizure of aircraft. Now, this in itself is a highly specialist area, as you can imagine, but over the years we have developed our process and our modus operandi to be able to handle these huge assets, these multi-million-dollar assets. Usually they don't come small aircraft, they always come large, and be able to impound them, take care of them on the ground, maintain them, park them somewhere. Even the parking of an aircraft is not without its complications, and to be able then to keep an aircraft on the ground as leverage for payment. Now that's a very different scenario to seizing the vehicle of Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Mr. and Mrs. Patel on their front drive. And I understand that. And that's the nuance of enforcement. And indeed, that's the excitement of enforcement, is that every day you get something new to enforce against. And because we don't do, like some of the larger companies do, council tax and parking fine enforcement ad nauseum, which is one parking fine or one council tax bill after another. We don't do that. We're looking for those niches, and we like to exploit them, and we like to make them our own. And it makes for exciting work for our agents who, of course, they love the buzz of getting an unusual asset and being able to enforce it, or an unusual story. And all of this, I'm so pleased, is being put out into the mainstream through our TV show called The Bailiffs, Time to Pay Up. Now, this is only one part of what we do. This is very much the collection of money. But, we feature going to a stately home on that TV show. I mean, who does that? I think that's the first time anyone's ever talked about that. They don't come up very often, thank goodness. And we're certainly not trying to make an example of any aristocracy and people that have done probably a lot in their community. But what I want to show you is that whether you live in a small flat or whether you live in a palace, you're not beyond the law. And a writ of control will affect both people named in the writ in the same way. And it won't, without fear or favour, the law will operate when it comes to enforcement, and that's as it should be. And I think people will be surprised to see how the law does catch up with the judgment debtor who owns a palace, as opposed to just showing that run-of-the-mill ordinary folk, who live in, Acacia Avenue. That could be you or me. And yes, the law will definitely catch up with us. But what does it do with dukes and duchesses? Does it catch up with them? And the answer is yes, it does. And I think you need to see that in action. And so we're very proud of our TV show in that it shows that. It can be uncomfortable viewing, I suppose. But I think through our TV show, we have educated thousands, if not millions of people about what bailiffs can and cannot do. And whether you like that kind of TV, and funnily enough, I do get a lot of people that like that kind of reality show TV, but I think from my point of view that it's also showing people how to stay out of debt. And it's showing people what happens if they don't keep up with their rent and what eviction can look like, certainly in the Can't Pay, Take It Away TV show. And again, these are uncomfortable subjects, but through the medium of TV, we're able to reach millions of people, which 20 years ago would have been a complete pipe dream to be able to meet that, to reach that many people and explain to them what enforcement really means. And, as the availability of credit and, difficulties in finance, cost of living crisis, the pandemic, which has blown up so many people's lives. These things are ever more a reality. And I hope that the TV show is seen as a service to the public of what's available to get your money back or your property back, but also how to stay out of that arena altogether in a way that a government policy on debt management could never do. It just cannot reach average folk on the street with that kind of policy information. It's never going to get to them. The closest you'll get is the Citizen Advice Bureau, who do a tremendous job in looking after people's rights, on either side of a judgment or order. But you just cannot get mass communication out there the way that a TV show can. And whilst people may sneer at it, it's done its job for Shergroup. So in terms of our property possession work, I'm tremendously proud of that as well. We've done some colossal projects over the years, removed people when building new airports, building new roads, taking out power stations, transforming infrastructure, We have been there to handle the climate protest, the anti-war protester, the anti-capitalist protester, and all of these protesters, hey, they've got a point of view and they've got freedom of speech, and it's not our job to interfere with that. But when the court says you can no longer stay on this land, you have to move, and they refuse to move because they're protesting, then the court says you as the High Court enforcement officer can remove those people safely but forcefully if you need to. And again, over the years we have picked people up and carried them off land that they shouldn't be on, and we've done it with a great deal of care. We've never had a serious injury. We've never had, God forbid, a fatality. And we take a great deal of pride in working with the police and other agencies to make sure that these evictions are carried out safely and professionally. Again, often under the glare of TV cameras who are interested in what we're doing. And we always get the police to talk about what we do. We see them as actually the lead agency, although in law, actually, on a site like that, we are the lead agency, but we don't look for that limelight. We let the police handle that situation for us because they do it so well. And we've yet to meet a police officer that couldn't help us and support us in what is sometimes a difficult role and difficult for the public to understand. I mean, everybody understands who a police officer is, right? But who the heck are you? A High Court enforcement officer, what's that? And generally, if we say sheriff, then people will understand who we are and why we're there. But again, from compulsory purchase orders for the Olympic site in Stratford, all the way through to, as I say, stopping Rainbow Warrior, tying up on the Thames estuary. We've done some exciting projects. And again, great for our agents to be involved with that, and great for us to know that we can do it because we have the force of a High Court writ of possession behind us. So that's us in a nutshell. You can tell after, I hope from this podcast, even after 43 years of being involved in the enforcement business, I still have the bug for this work. I still love to see great results, to see men and women who have worked with me for a long time, seeing them move forward in our organisation, and also that they are experts themselves in High Court enforcement. That's been a huge thing for me to see so many people that I've worked with, trained, mentored, have themselves become High Court enforcement experts. No, they may not be High Court enforcement officers, but I don't take anything away from them in terms of their knowledge and their enthusiasm and their professionalism in the deployment of the enforcement of a writ. I work with some tremendous people. When you work with Shergroup, you're not just working with me, you're working with my entire team. And over the years, they have been crafted into a real force for good when it comes to enforcing court judgments. And the government and the judges should be very proud of them because of the risks that they take. You can see that on the TV show. You can see it on videos that we've put out on Shergroup TV. They're a good bunch of people who are trying to do the bidding of the court in the most professional way possible. So I hope that fills you with some confidence if you're coming to enforcement, either for the first time or you're a returning customer, or you put your toe in the water before, perhaps with somebody else, and you've not come across Shergroup before. Take a look at our social proof on all our channels, but particularly our YouTube channel. Really take a look at that, because there's a body of work on there of which I'm extremely proud. And it is the culmination of, as I say, I'm in my 5th decade now of working in enforcement, and this is how I think the job should be done. So thank you very much. Thanks for working with us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Come and visit our website, shergroup.com. We do a lot of other stuff now, not just enforcement. We're all about helping business owners and business professionals make their life easier, take the tough stuff off their desks. So we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Shergroupie podcast. To join our Shergroupie community, subscribe by going to our website at www.shergroup.com. Keep up with the latest Shergroup news across all our main channels, including YouTube, LinkedIn, and across all social media. Stay connected and begin building more business relationships.